Douglas Cooling and Heating, serving the Birmingham area for 38 years. 988-3706. That's Douglas.
Happy New Year from the Weather Extreme video. This is the Weather Extreme video for January the 1st, 2012. Wonder how long it's going to take me to get that right in my checkbook. Our Skycam imagery this morning shows that we do have some clouds over the area. There's a look at Birmingham, and you can see those low clouds reflecting some of the light. You can also see some of the low clouds from Demopolis. Those clouds also reflecting the light down there from those large lights you can see along the river. We do have a cold front that is just knocking on the door, tapping to move across the state, and should move across the state relatively quickly during the morning and early afternoon hours. Takes it a little while to get across our state. In the upper atmosphere, we're seeing a big trough dig in, and that is bringing us a big change. And that big change is in the form of temperatures. Notice that yesterday we had pretty much most of the country was above 32 degrees, but now this morning, look at those minus values and single-digit values in the northern Rockies. But notice also the warmth that is surging northward ahead of that cold front, so it's pretty easy to find the front. You can also find the front here. I'm zoomed in enough that the front is just off to the left, but you can see that we have a nice southwesterly flow and temperatures have warmed up. Last night at 10 o'clock when I did the television weather, there was temperatures in the 40s, and now this morning we're up into the 60s. Isn't that amazing? Just really amazing. And you can see on the overall radar composite for the southeastern U.S., very few showers, as we've been trying to forecast that it would be very few. Close-in shot from the Columbus radar, and you can see that there's just a couple, and so it looks like very few of us will get any rain. And that's certainly what the QPF has been saying, and we've been saying for the last several days, that not much rain is going to occur with this particular event. The morning 06Z GFS model run, along with any of the European, will be from 0Z, since they don't seem to run that, or I don't have access to the 06Z run. And there's the front by 18Z. Front is probably exiting the southeast corner of the state. Might be more like 21Z, but that's all right. We're close. And of course, the cold air coming in behind it. You can see the cold air diving in on Monday the 2nd. So as I've been saying, the cold air doesn't get all dumped in at one time. Today is a bit of a transition day. We see a high this morning in the lower 60s. I expect temperatures to drop back into the 50s and stay more or less steady during the afternoon. And then tonight we drop back down to freezing. And the GFS and the Euro are in very close agreement. You can see the 540 thickness line on the Euro getting down into at least edging into South Alabama. And, of course, the GFS also getting down into the vicinity of Montgomery. Our trough edges ever so slowly off the east coast, but we also see another trough coming into the western Great Lakes region from Canada, and that will kind of disrupt the flow just a little bit and allow us to begin to moderate. Notice the 540 line begins to just edge out of the state, but I expect with radiational cooling and our Tuesday morning lows to be some of the coldest that we've seen in quite some time. The overall pattern is flattening slowly. On Wednesday the 4th, you can see the long wave trough position just off the east coast of the United States. And so we stay dry and fairly cool, but beginning to moderate. The overall pattern really flattens out on Thursday, and so that means continued moderation. And then by Friday, we're practically into a zonal flow. So very quick warm-up. Fairly typical of the southeastern U.S. We don't have these long cold spells typically. And, of course, with that little trough that you see over West Texas, we begin to see at least some sort of system coming our way. But right now the GFS is suggesting that that will be dry on Friday. Another trough more or less drops in on Saturday, a week from yesterday. And then we begin to see some moisture ahead of that, with a surface low over the Ohio River Valley and a cold front trailing back through Arkansas and northern Louisiana. And believe it or not, the Euro that far out is in relatively good agreement. The low is further north on the Euro, but more or less the position of the front is in pretty good agreement. They're in relatively close proximity to one another, and both indicating the possibility of some rain. So we'll be introducing rain for next Saturday. By Sunday, the trough is dug in pretty well across the central Mississippi River Valley, so it looks like another shot of reasonably cold air that could be nearly as cold as the one we've just experienced, or that we're about to experience. 540 line digging down into the vicinity of central Louisiana. Now, going out into future, again, just like this current system, the moderation occurs fairly quickly. You can see we almost go to a zonal flow by the 11th. And then by the 14th, it looks like it could be a wet one, as we see a fairly strong trough moving through the flow, with the center of the trough over the Great Lakes, but that would be dragging a front across the area eventually, probably around the 15th. And that certainly with that southwesterly fetch can give us some moisture. And then finally, out at the 16th, we are back into a more or less zonal flow. So once again, the screaming message, I think, from the GFS long-range voodoo country is that, there's certainly an absence right now of any other extremes other than the ones that we've mentioned. Well, thanks for tuning into the Weather Xtreme video. I expect to have the next one tomorrow morning a little bit later. I'll be taking care of the weather duties at ABC 3340 for the morning show. So be sure to catch us if you're local to us between 4:30 and 7 a.m. In the meantime, Happy New Year, and I hope you have a prosperous and healthy 2012.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.